If there is one thing that has helped me manage my Sjogren's disease symptoms more than any medication, supplement, or special diet, this is it. Hi, my name is Dr. Kara Wada. I am a quadruple board certified allergy immunology physician. I'm also someone who lives with Sjogren's disease and dysautonomia, meaning my nervous system glitches along with my immune system misbehaving. I am so excited to talk with you today about this one simple thing that has been monumental in helping propel me forward from a really dark place. I found myself in about 5 years ago or so. I had been recently diagnosed with Sjogren's after years of symptoms that I frankly ignored to the point where my body was screaming for attention. And then I totally crashed and realized that something had to give. I needed to make some significant changes. And this has been the key to all of it. And it's simple. It's checking in with myself. And I'm going to talk more about that over the next 10 to 15 minutes. But if you are someone who struggles with a misbehaving immune system, you have allergies, you have autoimmune disease, you just feel like you aren't yourself anymore, you're going to want to make sure to subscribe because that's all that I talk about and follow along. Now, I know this might seem simple, even too simple, but I promise you, this one practice has made a bigger impact on my health than anything else I've tried. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I do it on a daily, a weekly, and a monthly basis so you can start using this approach too and really see the monumental change that can occur over time. Because let's be real, autoimmune conditions like Sjogren's are unpredictable. Some days you feel okay, and other days it's like your body is running on totally empty batteries, right? Your spoons are gone, it's on E, whatever analogy you want to use, you feel like crap. But what if you could spot patterns? What if you could recognize what's working and adjust things before they spiral completely out of control? That's what this practice is all about. The reason this works is simple. Awareness leads to action. When we don't check in with ourselves, we tend to push through exhaustion. We ignore symptoms, or we wait until we hit a breaking point before we decide to make changes. And this is what happened originally, right? When I was at this rock bottom, I had hit this total breaking point. I had severe liver inflammation. I was struggling at work. I was struggling at home with my 2 kiddos at the time. I wasn't connecting with my husband. It was really tough. But by taking a few minutes each day, by setting aside half an hour each week and an hour or so each month to reflect on what's going on, I've been able to catch symptom flare-ups before they get worse. I'm able to spot what habits have really helped me the most. I've been able to reduce stress by planning ahead, and I'm able to better stay consistent with self-care instead of feeling overwhelmed. And trust me, this is not about being perfect. I actually had to unlearn a lot of that perfectionism along the way. It's just about being aware and checking in, having some point in time to reflect on and to then see how far we've come. It's all about the gain rather than the gap. If you're familiar with that book, I found so helpful in really recalibrating the perspective I'm sitting in. So let's start with the daily check-in. This doesn't have to take very long, less than 5 minutes. I either jot down in a journal. I really love using Silk and Saunders journals. It's not sponsored. It's a pre-formatted bullet journal. It's pretty, makes me feel special. Or you can just do a quick little mental scan and jot this down in your phone. There's some great apps out there too. My good friend from residency, good friend from residency, Dr. Crystal Kelly and her partner Simon have created this incredible app. The Patient Pocket Advocate has a great tracking tool. But the questions I ask myself, how am I feeling today? How was my sleep? Did I move my body? And I can jot down little notes about how it went, right? My sleep was okay. Maybe I use a scoring system and give it maybe a 7 out of 10. Did I move my body? And, what did I do? Did I nourish myself well? Whatever that means to me at that time. Maybe I've been working on a particular goal to eat more fermented foods. Did I get those in that day? Did I have time where I connected with the people that I love, with other humans? We are social beings. That human to human connection is critical. And it's a huge part of my medical practice, having that time, that space, that energy to connect with that person across the screen or across the room from me. These are 5 areas that are non-negotiables because they are the foundation of health. If I notice something is off, like I didn't sleep well or I'm feeling more fatigued than usual, I can ask myself, okay, what was different? What maybe contributed? I can kind of look for some of those things and look for patterns over time. And I can make those course corrections before things turn into a full-blown crash. The key here is when we do these check-ins, we need to come to them with a place where we have said to ourselves, this is a place of no judgment. I am not asking myself these questions to be hard on myself. I'm gathering information. I'm gathering data points so I can make small, meaningful adjustments as I'm able to. Now, let's talk about a weekly check-in. Maybe it's every Monday morning. For me, I like to do it on the weekend. I have a little bit more time. It's a little slower morning. I'm not having to rush my kids out the door. And I take about a half hour, an hour to do a weekly check-in. This is also my time where I look to see, what we're going to eat that week. I'm getting my week all planned. I'm setting time aside to set myself and my family up for success. And it makes a huge difference in how my week goes. So here's what I do. I plan my meals for the week. The first thing I do is I do a little shop around my kitchen. I check the fridge. I see, okay, what needs to be used up? Do we have any leftovers we need to eat up? What do I have in the freezer that's been there for a while and we need to use? What's in the pantry? Are there some potatoes that are starting to grow some little sprouts? And I think about what my goals are then for my nutrition that week. I look at the schedule ahead too, and I see, we got Girl Scouts and, husband's on service this week. That means it's going to be a busier week. I have all that information at my fingertips where I can plan and think ahead about how I can set myself up for success. So if it is one of those busier weeks or busy night, and I'm going to need to use some leftovers for dinner, or we're going to have to get takeout, and that's okay. We're going to get it from this restaurant, BB Bob, which my kids like. They're going to eat some veggies. I'm going to be able to get something that's really nutritious, gets ample protein and healthy carbs and fat. All those things that I might be thinking about and wanting to set as a goal. I also get to sit and look to think, okay, gauge, what do I think I'm going to be able to handle this week for my movement and my workout? I'm going to pull up the forecast. I know it's not always the best prediction, but if the weather looks nice, I might want to really say, hey, this is a great week to get some time out in nature. Nature can be so healing. We know that getting out in nature is one of the few things that can actually improve our natural killer white blood cell function. How cool is that? But I'm going to look ahead and think, okay, I want to get some sort of, exercise that's going to get my heart going. I really have been focusing on getting some what we call level 2 or zone 2 cardiovascular exercise. It's getting your heart beating where it's a little bit challenging to carry on a conversation, but you can still talk. So for me, that's like a power walk or sometimes a little bit of time on my Peloton bike if the weather is terrible. I'm also really focusing on some strength training, some muscle building, because I know with Sjogren's, mitochondria health is super important. And some of the ways I can help support that is by building some muscle. So I've been doing that slow and steady, and that factors into my nutrition goals too, right? I'm also going to focus in, like this past week, I chaperoned my daughter's field trips. And frankly, after a day of chasing around dozens of third graders, that was my movement for the day. And I was okay with that. I needed a rest and I factored that in. So I factored in some time before they got home from school. I had about 30 minutes where I took a little nap. so that I could recharge my batteries. So I'm able to block out time for work, block out time for what I call mandatory me time, personal priorities, factoring in those physician and doctor's appointments, therapy appointments, those sorts of things. Why does this matter? Why does taking this hour to really bring all these things together and plan ahead, why is it so important? Because decision fatigue is real. When you are managing a chronic illness, the last thing you need is to be scrambling to figure out what to eat, when to move, or how to fit in self-care. By planning ahead, I set myself up to succeed even on the hard days. And this has taken time. Has taken adjustment, and it's, really taken some ability to tap into self-compassion, because I tend to try to overschedule myself. I've had to kind of pull back on that, make sure I really am factoring in some buffer time for if I am feeling like flares kind of coming up. I've also, though, learned to trust myself and trust that I know what I need to do for me in that day, and when to push a little bit and when to pull back. And this hasn't happened overnight. This has happened over the last, years of working through this. This is a slow and steady progress, but over time, these recalibrations add up. The other reason this is so helpful, let's be honest, this prevents those what's for dinner like meltdowns at 5:15 at my house when I'm exhausted and I don't have a plan and my kids are hangry and I just want to be done. So it's helped take that stress away, which is helpful because that's one less thing that is impacting my immune system health. All right, finally, let's get into the monthly check-in. This monthly check-in is really a chance to zoom out, to look at the bigger picture. This is when I go through my 9 key areas of life and I check in on the 3 main goals I set for myself for the year. I do this during my self-care compass workshop that I run for myself every year. It's where I pick a goal, a personal goal, a professional goal, a goal for my family each year. And I think about, okay, what is that goal? What values do I want to lead with as I work towards that goal? And what is the driving mission? What is my why that I want to get to that goal? Because when those days are hard, it's really helpful to remember, yes, there's this bigger reason why I am working through this, why I, have this goal in mind. So when you go through those 9 areas of life, it's the wheel of life. But I asked myself some key questions when I go through this. And this takes an hour or 2, right? This is a time of deep reflection that I am investing in myself. And it's part of that mandatory me time. But what progress have I made? Again, coming from that space of non-judgment, what progress have I made? What actions did I take that led to that progress? What contributed to that progress? What obstacles got in the way? What were things that didn't happen and what obstacles got in the way? How can I remove or work on those obstacles? And what is my goal for this upcoming month? Knowing what I know now, what am I going to do? What is my goal? What am I thinking about thinking forward for the next month? This practice is helping me course correct things before things feel totally out of control. It also reminds me to celebrate those wins. As I'm looking through my calendar, those daily and weekly check-ins, I am able to reflect back, oh yeah, that's right. The first week of the month, I did do that. And with my cycle this month, I adjusted some things and man, my PMS symptoms weren't as bad. I didn't flare as much, right? It allows me to celebrate those small wins because when you are managing an autoimmune condition, a chronic illness, anything that has, those ups and downs, right? Progress is not always linear. We think that we go from point A to point B and it's a straight line, but the reality is we are going all over the place. But it's every step forward on that curving path that still counts. So if you are feeling stuck in your health journey, I encourage you to try this. Start small, just a daily check-in, a noticing. How do you feel? Reflect on it. Trust yourself. Make some tiny adjustments along the way. Experiment. This is all data. We are scientists in our own care. And if you're someone who already does some kind of check-in routine, I'd love to hear about it. Let's learn from one another. Drop a comment below. What is one habit that helps you stay on track with your health? If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss future content on autoimmune health, allergies, mast cells, Sjogren's, all those sorts of things, self-care, a little bit of life coaching, and thriving beyond your diagnosis. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you next time. And if in the meantime, you want to come see me in my virtual clinic, that info's below too.